What is up, you guys? It's your boy John here from Puma Plow. How's everybody doing? Thanks for clicking on another On the Farm video, episode 64. We are flying over the pumpkin patch. These are a lot of the volunteer pumpkins in this area here. And then you can see as we fly, they get smaller and smaller. And those are the ones we planted in the center there along our drip irrigation. They are doing quite well. They do enjoy this heat quite a bit, and we are watering them pretty well daily right now, actually. We have had a little bit of rain here and there, kind of on and off, and you can tell by all the weeds in the garden. The garden's gotten a little out of hand up there, I'd say, on the right side of the screen right now. But we are trying to get it under control. These small ones right here were just planted, so it's crazy the size difference. You know, we got the great big ones out front that are in vine out stage already, and then we've got these here that are just set out. And actually, the day this video is coming out, we are going to set out a couple more, and then we're done. So it's about time. I can't wait. I'm glad to be done planting pumpkins here very, very soon. Tomorrow, actually. Today, you guys are watching this, whatever. But yeah, you can just see the straw is doing good. We did have a lot of weed pressure in the back of the garden, because the one time I went out and sprayed, I did not spray the back of the garden, even though Dad kind of told me to. So I decided not to, and I totally should have. Next year I will listen and spray all of the garden for weeds. So yes, the straw helps, but it does also require Roundup from time to time to get rid of the weeds. Here's one of the volunteer plants coming up here in just a second, and you can see the bugs have gotten that plant, and it's done. We've had a lot of bug pressure in our pumpkins so far this year. I've sprayed them twice now, and we pretty well need to spray them every week when we're down there to help eliminate some of the bug pressure, keep it down a little bit. So yeah, so that is that. Now we're going to fly out over the, quote, good corn. This is on the blacker dirt. It's a lot better than the sandier dirt, obviously, out front. And it is in really good shape. This corn is looking really good, nice and tall, real thick, dark green, just good to go. This field's looking real good. Notice you cannot see any dirt. As we look down the rows, you can't see the ground at all. It's the way it should be this time of year. And you can see it out there kind of blowing in the wind a little bit even. How about that? Alright, you guys, so now we're flying over the garden, and oh, whoopsie. I got a little close with the drone. And you'll get to see what happens when you get a little close with the drone here in just a second. It's not that bad. It could be worse.
What is up, you guys? It's your boy John here from Puma Plow. I was just flying the drone, and I was trying to get some sweet shots of the corn up close, like starting at the bottom, coming up. I got a little close. You guys will see the video. I'll leave it in. But this is what happens to a DJI Phantom 3 Professional if you run it into some corn. Everything is green. You can see the props are super green. Back here, super green. Now I think, guys, it's actually okay. Everything seems to be functioning properly still. I didn't shatter any blades, but you can see how green they got. I do need to clean the camera. It's got a little bit of stuff on the lens there, but not too bad. So you can just see how green it gets, and yeah, I don't recommend doing it. So mistakes happen, but somebody's here, so I gotta go. Talk to you guys in a minute. Bye.
Alright, so now we are actually over on the neighbor's property. They asked me to come over and check their field out. This is one of the sandiest patches around. Super sandy dirt over here. And as you can tell, obviously the drone is fine. I filmed this later in the day. Completely fine. I cleaned it off and we're good to go. It was covered in corn juice, as you saw in that last clip. Pretty nasty, but good to go now. So this is one of the sandier fields around in the area, and you can tell this has been hit hard by our little drought that we were in back in like June. So some of the field has started to recover, but a lot of it, this field, is gonna go really bad as far as weeds go. So the neighbor actually came over and asked me to go film his field for him. So I was like, heck yeah. So I might do some more flying over this particular field, like maybe not this coming week, but maybe next week. So we'll get like a 2-week, gap in between to kind of keep tracking the field, the progress from the weed pressure and everything. They were talking about maybe spraying this field sometime in the future, but you're almost going to have to with all these spots here where there's no corn, basically, very little corn left. The weed pressure will be real out here. And like I said earlier, we have had a little bit of rain lately. And anytime you get these spots where you can see the dirt, basically, which means the sunlight's getting down there, and you get some rain, you're going to have weeds. There's nothing you can really do about that other than spraying your field. So you guys can see this is really bad here. That corn is just completely gone. It's not coming back. This field will yield fairly low because of all the dead spots, like the average in the field, So it's just one of those things that's going to happen when you get a dry year. This stuff kind of happens. So we're going to keep flying over this field, guys, for a couple more minutes. We're going to go super, super high and get some wide shots and whatnot. And I'll be back when we go to our next field. Alright, so we're now over the next field. We are back on what used to be, quote, our property, Grandpa's land, out front, as we call it, out on our sand. And this is the field a few weeks ago that I was filming for you guys, and you can see it has rebounded quite well, actually. I thought it was gonna, brown out like the other field we were just in over on the neighbors. But this field has come back. There's a couple spots that are really thin still, but for the most part, it actually has responded to the rain that we got, and there are ears set on all of this corn, which is amazing. They're small ears, but they're still ears, and this corn will actually make something, at least, which is good. That's what you hope for, is to get, some kind of crop to get some of your money back. So this field's actually not looking too bad. The yield is obviously going to be affected greatly in this field. You can see there's some sandier spots where it's pretty bad. Even the spots that, quote, look good, it was under a lot of stress there a couple weeks ago, and the corn didn't grow as tall, the ear didn't get it nearly as big, all that kind of stuff. So the yield is going to be affected greatly in this field. And then these are the soybeans that we watched being planted. We filmed that case tractor and case planter out there planting these soybeans. That was the neighbor that I actually talked to the other day. And these are the soybeans that he was planting that day. They look pretty good. There's a couple spots where they got a little wet, actually, not dry, but wet. When these were planted, it was a little wet, and then we got rain, and then it got dry, and then we got rain. So you can see here's the water hole that he went around that day. They did actually come back in when it got dry, and they replanted the water hole. Well, then it got wet again and drowned them out. So sometimes, you know, it's the risk you take. Sometimes you gamble and you don't replant, and then it'll stay kind of dry, and you could have planted and they would have been fine. Or you replant and then it turns wet and you end up losing them. So it's just the risk you take as, you know, being a farmer. And you can see the beans blowing in the wind too. That's actually really neat. I need to get more shots of that. I think that's cool how you can see the wind out there blowing the soybeans around. But that is the water hole, and that will probably turn into a weedy jungle here before too much longer. Without the soybeans in there shading the ground out, the ground's obviously getting sunlight, and it's going to turn into a weedy mess. So that was a drowned out replant. Now we're going to go down here. This other little spot here, he did not plant because it was wet, and they did not replant it. And then there's actually a drowned out in the corn. To kind of show you how wet it was this spring, the corn in the neighboring field drowned out this spring. So it's just kind of, there's all kinds of drowned out spots down there this year. So that's just the way it is. But guys, if you like this video, please hit that like button for more. Subscribe if you have not already. And until next time, thanks for watching. I'm your boy John from Puma Plow. I'll catch you then. Toodles.